What is up, guys? It is your boy MaineMania, and welcome back to another episode of Normal 200. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to jump right in. We are switching up today's team, and we're sticking with MK11, but we're rocking with Noob and Jade as our core damage dealer. I do apologize if I'm jumping right on into it. I hate to do that. I'd rather talk to you guys, hang out for a little bit. But I'm a little bit pressed on time and I still have battles to get done. So today's actually a pretty important day. We've got Jade and we've got Snare. It's important, guys. We don't have luck on Jade. We're gonna try one more. We'll tag to Noob. That wasn't nice, my friend. All right, it's a pretty lucky. It could be a great day, guys, and that's going to be contingent on if we actually get. No, doesn't feel good, does it, buddy? One down. So this guy can't whatchamacallit. Right now, we're just gonna burn 3 specials as quickly as possible. No poppycock. Back to Jade. No. All right, you gonna tag out? Yep. I'm okay with the tag out. All right, guys. I feel like we're running a little bit late on time here. It's all about if we can get some lethals in. Thankfully, Jade is one of our almost max characters. Is she max, fully max, or almost maxed? I'm not really sure. I just know that you can't do your nonsense. I want to hit you with a special one. Didn't go in my favor. The damage is not the best on Noob right now. All right, we got 20 seconds. Little concerning, but we know that you can't dodge. We're gonna go special 2 here. I just don't know what the damage is gonna look like. No lethals, not encouraging. But blind should help. Oh, that was great. This is bad. This is bad. All right, we're gonna do this. You dodged. I thought you can dodge. Oh, why didn't it honor the special? Come on. I thought he couldn't dodge. Maybe that's fatal. I thought he couldn't dodge. That was my fault. Let's clean up. Fight. Look at his health, guys. 50,000 health. One combo. One combo. Probably shouldn't have even tagged out in the first place. I thought I was going to be able to tag out special 2, which was, I thought I had the time for it, but I guess I was a split second off on my timing. I thought it was perfect timing, but I had the button pressed. You could see it, but it just didn't honor it. Oh, well, guys, if we get Classic Rain, we'll have the opportunity to FX him. That camera angle is really weird. We'll have the opportunity to FX him, guys, in the crypt. So cross your fingers for your boy getting a copy of Classic Rain. It'll never happen, but we'll take an MK11 Liu Kang. It's about damn time we got something solid from the normal tower. Guys, this is probably like my 7th or 8th normal 200 without getting anything of value. So this was long overdue. Feeling good that we did get this. I do feel like I rushed a little bit through, which is what it is. Not a big deal. It is what it is. You know, just one of those things where I was trying to beat the clock, but it's too late. I missed it by that second battle. I wanted to get my last few battles done, but not a huge deal. It's just a normal tower. I've been missing battles in the normal tower left and right. I mentioned it in the last episode, but the normal tower doesn't really have incentive to play at this point. You know, conversely, I do feel like I get the most epic drops from normal over fatal, but you know, we're not getting a piece of epic gear at 200, and we have a much higher chance for a sellback at 200. So I've been skipping battles in the normal tower like crazy, and I thought I was gonna catch the deadline, but strangely enough, man, it took me longer to set up today than it normally does. So that didn't work out, but ladies and gentlemen, we got something of value, and that is something to be thankful for. We now have MK11 Liu Kang at Fusion 2, and this brings up a pretty interesting point I was talking to Taken in Discord about. Shout out to all the channel members that are in Discord. But we were talking about what newer diamonds do you think are going to have a big impact and will potentially be players in boss fights, you know, because remember, this game is extremely tower centric now. Towers basically took over this game. These special themed towers, they took over this game, and like that's pretty much the #1 grind for most players that play this game. For me, it's going to be the crypt, because I know what my rewards are and I know how much time I need to put in to guarantee myself to get what I know I can get. I think that's a much better use of my time personally. Not everyone will feel the same way, and that's their prerogative. But for me and my collection, the crypt has been godsend, and hopefully they'll continue to add good selections to the store and give us some good options on what to get. However, which of the newer diamonds at FX level 60 maxed out, which of those diamonds will be players in future boss fights for towers? And immediately the only two that come off you know, to mind, and obviously one of them is not too new, is Classic Rain is a monster boss fight killer. He's a monster boss killer, and he's not that new. He's one of the newer diamonds, maybe most recent 10, maybe even most recent 7 or 8. But as far as the new ones, I think MK11 Liu Kang is gonna be a force at Fusion X 60 in boss fights. He has a very good passive, and as you can see, that passive is very good for the Sorcerer's Tower. It's also going to be extremely good for the Dark Queen's Tower when that reruns as well. Why? Because you are immune to both blind and dodging when you tag in on an MK11 team. Those are some very strong traits. And the Sorcerer's Tower, for those of you guys who do not know, the Sorcerer's Tower is aka the Poison Tower, okay? The Edenian Tower is aka the Mega Debuff Tower. It has every freaking debuff you can name. You will be debuffed in that tower. And the Dark Queen's Tower is the Blind Tower. It is extremely frustrating to play against Blind after they buffed it. I do think, and you know, I'm surprised that they haven't, but Blind was it was the absolute worst debuff in the entire game. Opponents only missed maybe 10 to 15% of their attacks, and it was pretty much a useless debuff, which is why I always felt like the Shadow Sash in the Faction Wars store is one of the, you know, weakest pieces of equipment in the store. However, about 5 or 6 updates ago, not 5 or 6 updates, who knows, it was probably around 3 point something, maybe even 4.0. No, it wasn't 4.0. It was definitely 3 point something. It was well before 4.0. But nonetheless, when they buffed Blind, they super buffed the shit out of it, where instead of only missing, you know, 15 to 20% of your attacks tops, you missed 80+% of your attacks. So they basically flipped that ratio and made it so that you basically miss almost everything. And then that's when Blind just became what it is. And it's extremely annoying as a debuff. Not one of the most annoying in the game. Obviously, you know, when things like Slow and Frostbite exist, those are pretty frustrating to deal with. But the Blind Tower is coming up, and the point is MK11 Liu Kang is going to be a strong anchor for boss killing teams in both of these two towers. Now, obviously, he's going to have more practical uses in also in much more towers and against many different types of boss combinations. But specifically, he's going to dominate these two towers as far as his viability and his utility that he offers his MK11 counterparts. So I was thinking to myself, MK11 Liu Kang is going to be an absolute monster. Well, who else can be a huge player in boss fights? And the next two that I thought about on the list were MK11 Sindel and MK11 Fujin. Fujin is the second most annoying stinking character in the game, but Hurricane is very strong, and I showed it off in one of my final runs of the last tower, the Elder Wind Tower. But Hurricane has strong viability, and if you can combine Hurricane with Soaked with a classic Rain or IJ2/MK11 Raiden with their lightning attacks, you are going to have an extremely strong boss killing team. So I definitely think Fujin is going to be up there as far as boss fight viability. It's just that his passive is not going to be too great. But you know what? His passive actually may be really good for the upcoming Edenian Tower rerun, because remember, the Edenian Tower is the debuff tower. When you guys start going up against the Divine Argus Cloak, you guys will understand. When y'all start getting 4 or 5 debuffs in a row, y'all gonna understand. It's not gonna be as detrimental this go around, because we now have pieces like the Shintai of Malice that gives team debuff resistance, and now we have the there's another piece that gives, well, there's many pieces now that give, 30+% debuff resistance. You combine that with Hawk Stance that gives you 20%, you're pretty much going to be resisting about 50+% of their debuffs. However, with the Divine Argus Cloak, those debuffs stack really quickly. So for those of you guys who will be playing in the Edenian Tower, my recommendation for you is not to run a lot of unblockable. I know that sounds counterproductive, but if you do have the Rockin' Bowling Stones, as I just did in this fight and as I've mostly been doing recently, make that the only unblockable piece you run in that tower specifically, because in the Edenian Tower, you will get debuffed for breaking their blocks. And even though it's not really the most viable thing to play against that, build your teams around characters that don't need block breakers. So you're looking at characters like, Injustice 2 Raiden, and even classic Raiden, MK11 Scorpion, classic Liu Kang, characters, Undead Johnny, characters that have very fast basic attacks where you can find windows to, get your combos in and catch them in cycles, versus relying on breaking their blocks, because once again, breaking their blocks is going to trigger a debuff every time you do it. And if you do it multiple times, before you know it, you will be soaked, slowed, and frostbitten, and it will make you want to throw your phone and quit this freaking game. It is the most frustrating experience in this game. It's unplayable. If you don't believe me, go back and watch my old Edenian Tower videos. They're all up on my channel. Search MaineMania Edenian Tower and have fun watching those boss fights, because it is a very miserable experience. And that's why I do call for the Divine Argus Cloak to get toned down, only because it's not about the debuffs happening. It's about the debuffs lasting for their normal durations. So there's a couple characters in the game that do cause debuffs. You've got Hanzo Hasashi, right? You've got Black Dragon Kano. Those two in particular, let's use them as an example. They have debuffs built into their kit. I believe Classic Jax does too, but let's just focus on Black Dragon Kano and Hanzo Hasashi. Hanzo can cause bleed, right? And a quick temporary fire, but also Black Dragon Kano can cause cripple for a few seconds. And if you look at those durations, right, it's built into their kits, but they're very short durations. And I think that makes sense. And I would like to see that make its way to the Divine Argus Cloak, because I don't believe breaking somebody's block should cause you to be snared for the next 30 seconds. I don't believe it should cause you to be slowed, frostbitten, and freaking soaked for the next 20 to 30 seconds. It's just too long and it's too frustrating. I think they should keep that concept of how it works, but they should be very short durations. We're talking 5 to 6 seconds for every debuff. And then once one wears off, another one can jump on in, or they can refresh, etc. I just don't think they should last for a full 20 to 30 seconds, which is how they currently do. So hopefully they will tweak that in the future. They have never gone back basically and tweaked in equipment pieces effects. And I definitely think there's a few pieces in this game that need to strongly be addressed if they're going to care about the balance of this game. I've already told you Spectre's Burning Vengeance is number 1. Number 2 is Weather Warfare. If you've never played the Cold War Tower and tagged in, gotten frozen, completely gotten a few attacks, then got frozen again, then got frozen again, and then got deleted, you'll understand why Weather Warfare is absolutely insane. And then number 3 being the Divine Argus Cloak with the debuffs just lasting way too long. And you're going to get at least 3 debuffs on you at one time. It's a pretty frustrating experience. So those 3 pieces in particular are the ones that I think that needs to be changed. An argument can be made for Champions Nunchaku, but a lot of people have identified what happens with Champion Nunchaku as a bug versus the intended damage that it does. I can't say for sure. I don't have that piece maxed out. That would be nice though. Definitely would help in boss fights, but at the end of the day, I don't have that piece maxed out or anything like that. I'm not even close. I think I'm at like Fusion 2 or 3 for the 2 times the Shirai Ryu Tower came around. So yeah, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about today. What newer characters in the game do you think are gonna have boss fight viability? I'm going with MK11 Liu Kang, MK11 Fujin, and maybe MK11 Sindel, only because of that stun on command with her equipment. You're gonna get 5 of those. That can create a nice window to lead you to land some really strong specials or some really strong attacks. That has viability there. Plus I believe she offers unblockable as well, so there is some viability there for sure. Yeah, I think there's viability there with MK11 Sindel. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Always fun to have these conversations with you guys. Shout out to everyone that was talking about this in Discord. But nonetheless, you guys know the deal. If you enjoyed today's episode, you guys can show your boy some love by leaving a like. In addition to that, if you want to show extra love, you can hit the join button or the thanks button and show your boy some love that way. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, become one of the maniacs, and I will see you guys next time with MaineMania.